Good morning. Let's do some quick adjustments. Okay. Okay. So we are doing Zeiss Contax today. Not a bunch, just I think 4. First one is going to be 25, I think. Oops. That's the 50. So it must be this guy. Yep. I've never seen this cap before. Made by Kyocera. Is it actually a Contax cap? I don't think so. It's all wobbly. That's why. It just happens to fit. It's probably a Nikon cap, actually. Actually, it says KAR. I don't know what this cap is. Doesn't matter. Brandon. Thank you. I hope it goes well as well. Konica AR. Yeah, that's KAR. Good eyes there, Brandon. Alright, as far as the condition of this one goes, the glass is excellent. Very, very minor dust. And just a tiny bit of haze. Yeah, that looks like it's mostly on the front surface. You can see it there. See this? So that should clean off. And then the body itself is actually in very, very good condition. Practically no wear marks on the mount. Even the original paint is completely intact. I do see some very, very minor wear on the screw head, but this, for the most part, is mint. The focus movement is perfect, consistent, smooth. This will mod very nicely. Good morning, George. Curious, never asked you before, which lens do you absolutely hate modding more than any other? I like to hear horror stories. I mean, the ones that I hate modding, I just don't mod. We don't accept any Russian lenses because they just fall apart. What lenses do I hate modding? Some specific Nicors, they're relatively easy, but if you go, there's a sort of a spring-loaded section, and if you release pressure, it disengages, and it's a nightmare to get it back together. Hello from Spain. First time I watch live. Welcome. We are cinema. Fungus or haze? There is no fungus. The haze, I think, is just on the front surface, which is probably just from poor cleaning. But it shouldn't be a big deal. What causes haze inside? Usually it's a result of moisture, or the grease over time can outgas, and when it outgasses, it sort of leaves a film deposit on internal surfaces. But I think that what we're seeing here is just on the outside. Let's find out. Almost out of juice. There's the haze. It's hard to see on the camera. Oh yeah, I can feel it. It's oily. It's a very distinct feel when you give it that first wipe. It's still there. It can also easily be a result of the coatings, which isn't a bad thing. It doesn't photograph, or at least not in any significant way. We do see it more often in really complex curves, like a super, like an ultra wide angle lens. Now it's still there. You can probably see it a little better there. Also, keep in mind that this light is way, way brighter than what should be used to check a lens. Yeah, it's not coming off, but again, it's not bad. It's just, it's definitely exaggerated with this flashlight. Okay. Do you clean the lens when modding? So every lens that comes in for the Cine-Mod usually goes to another technician before it comes to me. and that technician gives the lens a complete evaluation. And if we find something that could warrant cleaning, or what we call a CLA, then we bring that up with the client and we say, hey, this is what we found. Do you want to do anything about it? And it's up to them at that point. We never pressure them, or we never say, oh, you got to do this. It's always up to the client. But yes, for a lens like this, we would offer a CLA. But like I said, this is in fantastic condition. I don't think there's anything that we could do to improve this lens. Oh, what's going on? There we go. There's only a couple other technicians that will do Cine-Mods here at the shop. But the service work can go to pretty much any of our technicians. Yeah, this looks all original. I don't see any technician marks. I don't see any signs of excessive wear. These three patches of paint are original. It's basically, they essentially use a paint as an adhesive to lock the position. Yeah, everything here looks untouched, which means I could be the first person opening this lens ever. Haze for video, it does not have to be bad, especially with flares. Yeah, I don't disagree with that, but it is worth noting that if you have a set of these lenses like this client does, at the very least it could ruin your consistency from lens to lens. AEJ or MMJ? I don't know. It's definitely not Germany. People get so hung up on finding consistent AEJ or MMJ or AG, or not even just within the Contax set, but like specifically with Leicas. So many people I find avoiding the Canadian models because they want the quote-unquote proper German models, but it really doesn't matter. I think there's some kind of, I feel like there's some kind of loyalty that a Canadian Leica isn't a real Leica. Which, by the way, coincidentally, I was shopping for the Leica Q2 monochrome, and on Leica's website, actually, you know what, I'll pull it up, because this is, the Canadian ones immediately burst into flames. Yeah. This struck me as a sign of the times. Let's go to Leica camera. I'll make this a little bigger for you guys. Sure. Right there. Front and center. Insta360. I get that it says co-engineered with Leica, but come on. Is that really what... There it is, right there. So on the actual product page, it doesn't mention anything about how Leica contributed to the design. Nothing. I mean, I'm sure that they contributed in the form of the actual optical design, but still, nowhere in this literature does it say Leica used their century worth of knowledge, blah blah blah. Nothing. It doesn't say, you know, optics by Leica or anything. It doesn't have a Leica badge on it anywhere. Oh, maybe it does. Oh, it does, right there. Leica. Super Elmar. Still, I just think that's... I don't know. Maybe as a purist, maybe George shares this sentiment, but I feel like that's below Leica as a brand. Anyway. It's the Leica Soul. Yeah, exactly. The same exact concept. Same with their, I forget the model line. All of their little point and shoot Leicas. It's all Panasonic. Every single piece. Do you ever adapt old anamorphic scopes? I don't. I do very much enjoy the Facebook groups and all the DIY enthusiasm, but as a business, as a professional technician, there's no room for me in that market. It's all DIY. That's the purpose of it. That would be like, you know, it's like hot rodding. As soon as a big name manufacturer gets into hot rodding, it's not hot rodding anymore. Then it's just someone big trying to attempt to grasp part of that market. I don't want the scope DIY anamorphic stuff to become mainstream. I want it to remain sort of in that maker community where people have to find their own solutions. And when you do find a solution, when you do figure something out, it's something to be proud of. It's not, it's you did it, you made it. It's not something anyone can just go buy off the shelf. Do you think Leica realized it could make a lot more money just licensing their brand? Oh yeah, for sure. I completely agree with that. I mean, they spend probably a week or two actually designing something, but they're not making any of that. That's all. That whole camera is built in China. Guarantee that. DJI drone now has a Hasselblad badge. Well, that's because DJI owns Hasselblad as a brand. It's their brand. They purchased the majority stake in the Hasselblad name. I'm all for their special editions and selling them off the branding. Yeah, that I do like. I very much like the Safari stuff. I like the ASC edition M. I was so tempted to buy that Q2 monochrome, like this close, but I didn't pull the trigger. Yeah, George and Brandon, you're spot on. If it's a means to an end, if it keeps the lights on, like you said, if it provides them the opportunity to produce the stuff that we actually want, great, go for it. It's like the old Ferrari story. Enzo Ferrari only made and sold cars to support his racing business, his Formula One team. Same concept, I suppose. So these are, I really enjoy seeing the different patterns on the chassis of Contax lenses. It's kind of hard to show it here, but this chassis is actually a cast aluminum that they then machine finish the critical components afterwards. So you can still see some of that machine, or some of the casting marks, which is unique. It's not billet CNC'd. Guess what I bought, speaking of which. Splurge back in July, the opportunity exchange rate. Uh-oh, what'd you get? Any opinion on these no-name cinema-branded lenses coming out of nowhere, TZO, etc.? I do have a lot of opinions. I don't like the fact that there are more review videos of the product than there is actual content shot with them. That bothers me. I had the same sentiment when I got my Komodo. I got my Komodo like a couple weeks before the official one launched. And when I opened the package, I thought, am I like, is there going to be like a pamphlet in here that says you have to do a review video now? You have to do an unboxing video? Because there were just, I couldn't believe how many unboxing videos there were for the Komodo, or first look, or first impressions. But as far as the new lenses, there's a couple that are OEM rebadged junk, like Nightcore and Mavo. What's their other one? Nisi. Those are all the same exact lens, just rebranded. DZO is pretty decent. I think that they have the motivation and the wherewithal to last. I'm pretty excited by the stuff that DZO is doing. MP black paint still on back order. Ooh. Good call, George. DZO has been pretty good since they started shipping. I was extremely hesitant when I first started dealing with them. Their first lens that I saw was a 25-300 that looked like an exact copy of the Fujinon Cabrio 25-300. And I wanted nothing to do with that product. And then they came out with their micro 4/3 zooms, and I thought, okay, that's more like it. That's a little better. I can get behind that. And then they came out with the Pictor zooms, and now they have the primes. The Pictor zooms and the primes are surprisingly good. But there's some other brands. Basically, the way Duclos lenses works is we only sell products that we can stand behind. So, for example, we don't sell Nightcore or Nisi primes for a good reason. And there's a couple of those new brands right now that we do sell that I'm teetering on the edge of canceling. Because every single lens that we sell goes through our technicians for QC. And there's a couple manufacturers that QC process we end up kicking back more than I would like. And it gets expensive for us as a dealer to reject that many lenses and then deal with reordering and waiting and delays. DZO has been surprisingly good. They are not one of the brands that we're on the fence with. Let me know when you get that camera, George. That should be quite nice. Have you seen DZO Vespa? Yes, I have, very much. I know Eric Nasso is working on some things, so excited to see what he says. Thanks for the opinion on DZO. I agree with a few videos. You're scared to see so much marketing and no real pro reviews. Yeah. You can blame DZO for that. They know who the influencers are, and they sent demo units to influencers before they sent them to proper, reputable people. Which, for better or worse, that's the future. You can't launch a product without influencers these days. Look at Komodo. They didn't have a single piece of advertising. Sorry, Phil. That was not meant to be a jab at you. That was meant to be a jab at the underqualified people. But the Komodo is a perfect example. There wasn't a single ad. There wasn't even an official product page. It was all word of mouth, influencers and users and groups. Oh, this feels so nice. Wow. Just lost my connection. I don't know if the stream's about. Phil, I really enjoyed your first clip. I thought that was very well done with the what was it, alien? Oh, it was the I forgot how you did that, but I enjoyed it. It was entertaining. I don't know why my feed just stopped here. What's going on? No, the stuff that I was primarily talking about was like the stuff that Meike did. I'm not so much talking about DZO. The Meike stuff they sent to basically whoever said, yeah, we'll shoot something for you. There we go. I think it's back now. But the Meike stuff, it's just... it's all over the place. They didn't send them to... I mean, you know, you have the proper news outlets, but then even below that, you have the blogs, the popular blogs, and they didn't even include those people. I like the Komodo. It's the right move for red. What I'd love to see is them taking it using firm next year or two, like the S1H. Oh, the Panasonic. Yeah, that's. I've been a Fuji guy for years now, and they did amazing things with their firmware updates, their whole Kaizen approach. Same thing with Sigma with the FP. When they came out with version 2.0 for the FP, it was like a whole new camera. All right. Now, I have very high expectations for DZO. I think they're in tune with what people are asking for, and they're nimble. They can do things quickly. Jurassic Park. I don't remember it being Jurassic Park. I thought you were talking, Phil. I thought you were talking about the video. I'm gonna have to go find it now. Where you were like, "Oh, hey there." I didn't think it was Jurassic Park. The new influence thing definitely works. The director on my next feature keeps talking about the Komodo, and I always say, "Why Anamorphic?" Yeah. Okay, good. I'm not wrong. That was a different thing. That's what I'm talking about. That I was very entertained by. Aubrey and I watched that and we were laughing. Uh-oh. Lost my spring. Much better. right. Perfect. Actually, this one might actually work with baffle. Does it? It does, but I don't think it's supposed to. So that's going to stay out. Yeah, that's more flush. All right. Are there any anamorphic lens companies that you're excited about? Or are the cheaper options using donor taking lens for anamorphic? There are some lens manufacturers that are investigating anamorphic, but nobody that's making any significant progress. I'll say that. Nothing that I'm excited about yet. Oh, this one's a pain. This guy's gonna be a pain. There. Good. All this work on the lenses seems to be distracting you from our chatting. Maybe we make this Duclos Weekly Lens Lounge. Do it on a Sunday evening and we all pour scotch. What are you talking about? This is the lounge. I got my coffee, I got my jazz. What am I doing? Oh. What's going on? Oh shoot, I think I just disconnected my mouse. Number 1? Anybody? Number 2. Oh man, there it is, okay. One last question. With the current lens making technology, why aren't more companies re-engineering vintage anamorphic at lower price points, giving all the available tools? There's a lot of different reasons. It's definitely not an IP issue. There's nothing really revolutionary about any other than some of the early stuff that Panavision had as far as intellectual property goes, but even that, those patents have expired, so it's all fair game. I think it's just a matter of supply and demand to make the type of anamorphic that people would actually want to buy would be very expensive. Unless they're making many units in which case the cost goes down a little bit, but they have to be able to sell those units. I think Atlas is a good example. They're probably the closest thing to what you're asking for. They have a relatively vintage look, and they're reasonably priced considering what it costs to make those cylinder elements. That is a beautiful Contax lens right there. Nice if Atlas made a set that gave the Lomo look. That's the thing, though, is to make them, Atlas is popular right now because they're relatively affordable compared to something like a Hawk or a Cook. And that's because of the quantities that they're making. If maybe a quarter, or best case scenario, half the people that are looking for anamorphic want the Lomo look instead of what you currently get from Atlas, you're talking about half of the production volume, which is, in theory, going to double the cost. So it's a supply-demand economy of scale issue. It's very challenging for manufacturers to take that plunge. It's risky. It's very risky. What are we on now? 35. This one definitely has more wear, but still not bad at all. Actually, it's probably just the filter. Yeah, the lens itself looks great. Very similar to the last one. I see a tiny bit of wear pattern on the mount. A couple little nicks here on the plastic shroud. Nice clean clicks, excellent focus movement. Just a tiny bit of contamination, nothing that I'd be concerned about. It does have a bit of haze, similar to the last one, but it's not bad. You're very welcome, son of a bitch. It's a dangerous username. This one feels a little bit gummier than the last one, so I suspect that this lubrication is going to be a little bit more broken down. Ooh, sticky screws. Still looks super clean. Yeah, the grease is practically non-existent. It's just clean. It's almost all dried up. Just a little bit on this side, but almost nothing. And this one has, I don't know what caused that. This looks like a factory modification. Like I was saying before, these are all cast and then machined after the fact. But this one, I don't think it's going to focus that close. Oh, yeah, there you go. This one looks like whoever was some additional filing to get it to work correctly, to clear whatever goes that way. Oh, to clear this little tab here. Uh-oh. I just lost my Wi-Fi. What happened? I lost my connection. What was that? It was a weird drop. It's odd. My connection, it just switched off of my hardwire to Wi-Fi. Why? Huh. Micro drop. Yeah, I guess so. They're still there, it's all good. You should upgrade your dial-up 56K. Hey man. I've been struggling to find 5G. I got a new iPhone 12, and I have not yet seen proper 5G. No, nothing. I don't know why it lost my hardwire. Oh, I know why. Okay. Give me a minute. It should reconnect now. Come on. Come on. It's thinking about it. Maybe not. Did I kill it? Stream health. Says it's good now. Okay. I really hope my wife isn't watching because I'm trying to convince her to switch to a PC from Mac. And this is not going to help my case. I don't know why it's not jumping onto my Ethernet. Oh well, it's fine. It's working. I'll fiddle with it later. Oh, now it dropped out back down to poor. All right. Back to excellent. Whatever. I'll just let it go. I don't know if I switch the network, if it's gonna like kill the feed or if it'll just stop for a second and come back. It's gonna bother me now. Yeah, pretty much everything just dropped off. Which one is which here? Oh, I might have just ruined it. Oh man. Okay, whatever. I'm done messing with it. If it kills the stream, have a good weekend. Let's see if it recognizes the network. Yeah, see, this is the difference. When I was saying that this one feels stickier, this grease is all broken down. The last one, it was mostly still like a transparent yellow. This is black. Oh, this is getting super choppy. How DIY is lens disassembly / cleaning? I don't understand your question. How DIY is? I mean, can it be done by anyone? I've watched the teardown you did on the Rokinon. I have taken the back mount off by 24-4 Nikon Rokinon to declick the aperture. How much different is this older Contax optic housing disassembly from the new optics? It's not too different. I mean, really, lenses haven't changed much in the last 75 some odd years. If anything, they've become more challenging because there's a lot of components in newer lenses that aren't meant to be taken apart. They're meant to just be replaced as a whole or as a large group. So in newer lenses, you'll find a lot of what we call a sealed group, where they either mold the group together with plastic components, or if it's metal, sometimes they'll do what we call spinning it in. So they'll use like a really thin aluminum or sometimes even brass and basically press the metal onto the glass so that you can't really unpress it. We end up having to cut components out. Hey Matt, if I wanted to learn about lens construction, do you know where one could do that? Like which glass elements are needed, what each element does, and what different shapes do? You're going to want to start with the fundamentals of physics and electromagnetic waves. That's the starting point. Understanding the shapes and the materials and how all of that interacts with each other is secondary to the absolute basic fundamentals of physics. Number 2, done. Thanks. I work with 3D visualization and been dabbling with construction of actual lenses to put in front of a virtual camera. Fascinatingly, it all works pretty much. Yeah, that's 3D visualization is it's still just using simulated ray tracing. Ray tracing is literally what lenses are. Okay, another oddball cap. Pentax K mount. PK. No filter on this one. Oh, 50. Let's switch our... I'm actually remembering these days. Ah. $51.4. There you go. Changed. Okay. So, condition-wise, very nice again. I mean, just look at this paint. This is completely original. And look how vibrant. The orange, the green, and then the red dot, which is, in this case, more of a neon red, which is fantastic. This lens looks practically untouched, just like the others in this set. Whoever, this client, I try not to use names on the stream unless they specifically ask for it, but they've obviously hunted these down very carefully. These are in fantastic condition. Very nice. I would go as far as saying this is probably the cleanest set of Zeiss Contax I've ever seen. Aside from like the super limited edition, I can't remember, it's like a 51.2 60th anniversary or something like that. I don't know why I can't remember. Maybe it was 50th. If anybody in the chat knows, let me know. How old is this set? I don't know. I don't have a comprehensive serial number database for Contax lenses. I'm actually working on that. I would say these are 80s, 1980s, maybe, possibly 70s, but since they're in such good condition, I'm inclined to say 80s. Lots of grease on this one, but it's already, you can tell it's breaking down, it's turning to liquid. It's very oily. Oh yeah, very watery. Which is essentially, I forget who was asking before about the haze, but yeah, see how yellow this is compared to the black grease on the previous one. That's essentially the phases that this grease goes through, solid, liquid, gas. So depending on the type of grease and the conditions it's exposed to, I guess you could say, eventually it'll, it starts as a solid, then it turns more to liquid, and once it becomes a liquid, it can begin to outgas and just evaporate over time. And if it's an internal component exposed to glass, then that outgassing ends up just depositing onto the glass. A part like this, it just goes off everywhere. It doesn't collect internally, because this isn't technically internal. Got some weird deposits on the surface here. Oh, that looks like remnants of the casting. There's bubbles in the actual metal. Shouldn't hurt anything. I thought it was something lodged on the surface, but it's not. Okay. This should feel excellent. Yep. Very happy with that result. Ooh. Okay. Sorry, my hat was in the way that whole time. Couldn't see what I was doing. All right. Same mount. Same. This might be my last one for today. I have one more 25mm, but it's the same exact one that I did before, so we'll see. We'll see how time is. That needs a very minor modification. Okay. I will take care of that later. Okay. Hey Matt, love the streams. What's the best lubrication for old lenses? New lubrication is the best lubrication. The exact viscosity and type of lubrication completely depends on the lens, and more specifically, the two surfaces that you're lubricating. I wouldn't say that there's any one grease that works well for all lenses. Okay. I think I can squeeze the last one in here. Oh, which one did I just do? See, this one's from a different client, and immediately you could tell this is a lot more wear. All of this anodizing is worn out. The rubber grip has obviously been re-glued at least once. The engravings are just not very clean. The anodizing, it's actually super smoothed. This lens has been handled a ton. This was obviously somebody's daily go-to lens. It's still in good shape. It's just wear and tear. Focus still feels great. The iris is a little worn out. But yeah, the fact that this anodizing is so smooth, see how shiny it is? It's completely worn down. Again, not a bad thing. Lots of fine dust. I don't know why my stream keeps disconnecting here. This is ridiculous. This is pretty clean still. all things considered. Okay. Oh, did it again. Germany. Yeah, this one's pretty packed with dirt. That's pretty bad. Oh, too empty. Come on. There we go. Hey man, I have a question about lens rehousing. Contax Zeiss is so popular, but only GL Optics seems to offer it. Companies like TLS or Xerox do not. How come? I don't have a firm answer. I suspect there's just not enough demand compared to things like the Leica R, Canon FD, the stuff that Zero Optic and TLS are doing. I'm sure it's only a matter of time before they do. Strange to see how popular contacts are. Yeah, a lot of it does come down to name brand. Even though these are Zeiss, they're more. They don't, you know, Leica has that whole German appeal, and yes, Zeiss is German as well. But these were definitely more of a Japanese-German cooperation, which sadly affects people's opinion. It shouldn't. These are, in my opinion, just as good as Leica Rs. But it's all preference. The extensive testing of the 35M lens and the ZM Biogon destroyed the 35 Summicron. Tested multiple samples. The results were consistent and bought the Biogon. Fun niche. I was looking at what happened to Olympus lenses recently. Some of them saw on eBay at 4 to 5 grand. Yeah, this Weco stuff can be. The OM lenses are becoming more popular. It's definitely a look with all of these lenses. And have you ever thought about rehousing lenses? I used to. Duclos lenses used to, and we still do some. But when TLS got in the game, there's really no need to. There's nothing that we could do that TLS and now Zero Optic can't. and we also don't want to. TLS are very old friends of ours. My father has known Keith for a very long time. I'm sure I've mentioned it on the stream before. Keith's daughter used to babysit me and my siblings. So we go way, way back. Keith is the owner, or the former owner of TLS. So I have no interest in competing with someone that we're that friendly with. And then same for Zero Optic. I don't know if it's well known, but Alex at Zero Optic is a former engineer of ours. When he left Duclos Lenses, he started Zero Optic. So I have no interest in competing with Alex either. He left on very good terms. I'm still very good friends with him. There's nothing that I could do that would be better than what TLS and Zero Optic are producing. You could rehouse Zeiss Contax. No thanks. Oh, my music completely ended. That means it's time to go. The other issue I have with rehousing lenses these days is that it's just so hard to argue with people on the price. You know, when we started, the first big lens that we rehoused was the Tokina 11-16, and as soon as GL Optics came out with theirs, that was, you know, half the price of ours. Every email that we got switched from, "Hey, how quick can I get one?" to, "Hey, how come yours is so much more expensive than GL Optics?" And it just became every single email was explaining, well, our materials are more expensive, our labor is more expensive, our costs of operating are higher. Like, it became exhausting. How do you feel about the FF Kawas that Ancient Optics are promoting so heavily? I haven't seen them in person, so I don't really have an opinion. I didn't know they were promoting them heavily. Where do you see them promoted most? We do a PL conversion for the Secors, Jacob. I don't know that a full rehousing would give them much benefit over just the PL conversion. Let's see if we can't find where the... They pop up frequently on Instagram and Facebook. Okay. They must be putting some money behind their ads. Yeah, I haven't seen those in person. I don't know who did that housing. I think that's White Point, if I'm not mistaken. Is that a Canon FD SSC? Nope, we don't do Canon FD rehousings. White Point, yeah, it looks like White Point. We have a couple telltale. The White Point pretty much copied TLS in every way, but there's a couple key things that they did differently. Make them pretty easy to spot. Masterfully built by White Point Optics. I don't know about that. Yeah, I think they're just putting money behind their posts. If their koas are just rehoused, if the White Point stuff is just rehoused koas, then I'm a huge fan. I've always loved koas. In fact, if I given the option of choosing any 2x anamorphic prime, my go-to is koas any day. But if White Point is modifying them, then I would definitely need to see to what degree and how beneficial it is, if it is at all. So, couldn't give you a firm opinion on that. That pretty much wraps it up for today. I mean, internally. Between TLS and White Point, which company do you recommend? Oh, definitely TLS. Definitely. Their koas are not anamorphic? They take full frame SLR glass and oh, I thought you were... Then why are they calling them koas? I don't think Kowa makes any full frame glass. That's odd. I would definitely need more info on that. Or Kowa SLR glass. I thought Kowa only made like micro four thirds and small format stuff. I didn't know they had any full frame glass. I will definitely have to look into those more. Oh no. Which one was this from? That was the last one. It's not going to fit. It's from the 60s. Jeez. Yeah, I have not seen those in person, so that would be interesting though. I'd be very curious to see how that stacks up. Personally, I've only ever really shot with the Koa anamorphic stuff, not their still stuff. Even the micro four thirds stuff they make, I've tinkered with it, but I wouldn't have. I haven't shot with it enough to have a firm opinion. Also didn't know White Point copied TLS. Well, to be fair, TLS copied Cook. All of the TLS rehousings are essentially the same cam follower carriage system that Cook used in the Cook S4s. Which is... I mean, they didn't... Keith was a former Cook employee, so he was very aware of all the internals on the S4s. So same goes for Zero Optic. They use the exact same cam follower and focus carriage system. The difference is Zero Optic has some very unique styling, the actual design, whereas the White Point stuff is almost a direct copy. All right. That's it for me. Thank you guys for hanging out. I'll see you next Saturday, most likely. Have a good one.